Hey everybody, it's Doom here from Dungeons and Doom Biscuit, and I got my little house painted black, and there's some spots that are messed up, and I tried to catch it with a lighter, but it didn't really work. It's just going to have to be part of it, because I didn't want to turn this into a big, long, and drawn-out thing. It was just a fun, quick project that could give you ideas, and you could put as much effort into beautifying it as you wanted. So to get started, I'm going to get a piece of cardboard, some of this brown paint, and a wet brush. I'm using this really crappy brush from the Dollar Tree. And I'm going to get in here, and I'm going to get some on the inside down there too if I can, and if I can't, I can't. And this brown color is going to be the predominant base coat with very little variation, okay? And I definitely want to get up in here, because that's all wood too. So I want to get up in there, and then I want to go up and down. So if there's any drying paint that leaves texture, it's vertical. Something like that. I'm going to start getting back into monsters again soon, I think. I just don't have any good ideas. If any of you guys have good ideas for monsters, send me an image or describe the monster in some way. Come to the Dungeon Swag Facebook group or Discord. You know, any of that stuff. Just help me out, because coming up with a million videos is... I haven't run out of ideas yet, but I feel like some days I can't focus or get anything fresh going on, you know. Stuff like this where I don't have a plan, it's a lot easier, because I'm just... You know, I grab an item that I have, then I'm like, I've been wanting to make something out of this, and then I go make something, you know. But when monsters come to play, it takes a little more thought and effort for sure. Because you don't want to just make something, you want to be able to talk about it and know how it functions and what it does, and you know what I mean? You guys understand. I even want to get down here on the base, because that's going to be dirt ultimately. So I want that painted too. It is going to be dirt, but I'm going to be using some kind of flock on it of some sort. I don't know what yet. I got some really nice homemade flock. I have some herbs. I have a lot of options, so definitely going to get something going. And we want to get this roof. We want to cover all the black up on the roof, because this is going to be significantly lighter. And this is just the first step of getting it significantly lighter. Okay, I'm just going to come up here and get underneath that, so it doesn't look too dark at an angle, in case anybody's looking low. I don't really plan on painting that part ultimately, but okay, we'll set this off to the side and we'll air dry this bad boy. I know this is really loud, but I don't edit. I do everything in one shot. I build it and then I paint it. Sometimes I do that in one video if I can. We'll come back to that roof. It'll dry some as we're working, but it's getting really hot and the loud noise is annoying. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a brush, something like a soft brush, like a Dollar Tree kind of soft brush like this, and I'm going to get any of the wet stuff that's not dry and just kind of rub that around and hope it dries a little faster. Up here on the roof, there's quite a bit of that really where I made it just too wet. We'll just dab that around and hope that dries quicker that way. I think it will. Okay. I'm going to hit it again real quick with the air. That's definitely working. All right, so for my down here part, I'm going to get that color and I'm going to get a lighter gray. This is called Elephant Gray, and that color was called Burnt Umber. Here we go. I'm going to get some of this lighter gray. Wherever that brush I just had was, oh, I threw it in the paint water. No problem. I'm going to get a bigger brush, and I'm going to make I'm going to test it up here in the back to make sure it's not too much. There we go. Okay. I'm going to make one conditioned approach here to kind of lighten this up in some spots. Make this look a little more beat up, an old wood look, and not so new and nice. And then once I have it kind of covered, I'm going to drag it downward all the way around and lighten that up. Okay. You can see what I'm doing there. It's nothing too spectacular or fancy or fresh. It's just a real old technique that everybody uses. Nothing fancy from me. Now I'm going to lighten this up a little bit more. But instead of using a gray, I'm going to use a beige. If I can find one, hold on. Territorial beige, here we go. I'm going to get a little bit of this territorial beige, just a little bit, on that brush. And I'm going to get a lot of that off there. And as you can see, very little of that is territorial beige at this point. Got like the gray and the darker brown kind of spattered in. Then I'm just going to kind of drag it around. And some of the spots. Let me get up under there pretty good. Then I'm going to do the whole roof in kind of that color. Just like that. I'm going to come and just drag outward. And that's maybe a little lighter than I wanted to go for this, but that's okay, we'll make it work. Okay. Next thing is I forgot to put studs on that. It's a little late now, so we're going to paint that silver. Gunmetal gray. My brush isn't wet. That's a mistake, I'm telling you now. Dry brushes are not good for this. Especially not ones with a 12-foot long bristles. You really don't want to get that on your planks if you can help it. Something like that. You want to get these straps on the door. And on the window too. I'm going to clean that brush. I'm going to get my dark gray or pavement. My favorite color in the palette when it comes to these Dollar Tree or Walmart paints. Hello, pavement. Where are you? And I'm going to come hit all my little rocks down here along the base with pavement. And my brush is nice and wet now, so I should have no problem coating these with very little effort. It's just going to drag around and go where I need it to. And if I get a little bit on the base around them, I don't care too much. It'll be okay. I just don't want to get it on my building. That's what I really don't want to do. Okay. Just make my rocks kind of dark gray. And any little weird shit sticking up, I'm going to make that dark gray color too. And just pretend they're rocks. Weird shit sticking up, you say? Nope, rocks. Something like that. That'll do what I need it to do for now. Clean that brush out. I'm getting a medium brown. My medium brown is melted chocolate. You don't need a bunch for this. Just a little squirt on there. My brush is wet. Stealing some of that. And I'm gonna create some variation down here. You want it to be jagged in spots. You don't want it to be square and nice and perfect. The reason for that is because when you put flock over top of this, you want the dirt to have different colors so it doesn't match the building perfectly. But you don't want it to be this color of brown. You want it to look spotty and splotchy. Now, if you just left it like this, it doesn't look very good. But once you put flock on there, you won't notice how inattentive to trying to make variation and stuff you were, because of the way the flock will fit. And the reason I'm doing it with my brush wet is so that it dries, depending on how thick it was where I touched it with water and paint, it dries with some variation. Okay? Something like that. Okay? Now I want my door and my window to be a little bit of a different shade. So I'm going to get my brush real wet. Just like that. And then I'm just going to kind of drag that down. I'm going to drag that across there, and just like that. Okay. Just like that. That's all I'm doing. You'll see in a minute why. It's not going to be super noticeable. Probably should have done this before I did the straps. Just in case I got any paint on the straps, but I didn't. Okay, a little bit more water. There we go, just like that. Just carefully drag these down the sides a little bit, like that. Then when that dries, it'll just have a little bit of a different color with like a cooler tone that'll be noticeable and stick through. Looks like we're making good progress. Let's do something else here real quick. Let's get another piece of cardboard. And get a big soft makeup brush. I had that brown, I lost it. Oh, there it is. I'm grabbing a yellow, give me a second. This is called Golden Sunset. I want a little bit of that. And then this is that beige. Want a little bit of that. And then I want to get all that off there. I want to come around here. And I want to try to get it into the groove some, but not overwhelmingly. Okay, then I want to get an off-white, like an antique white or parchment or ivory or whatever color you have. I'm going to use ivory because it's the same tone. Okay. Okay, something like that. We'll do exactly what we want. Get a lot of that off. Then I want to come around again, hitting just that. And because it's not all the way dry, I'm hoping it pulls some of that off of there down to the original dark brown. And if it does, great. And if it doesn't, great too. I'm going to hit it with the air gun. Kind of let it cure. And then the parts that I kind of rubbed off there, I'm going to come back with a little bit lighter. And we're going to drag this around. And try to lighten those darker spots where we pulled it up some. Something like that. Then I'm going to come around and grab my edges so they're kind of yellowed. And that's going to be my roof. Getting some clear glue and a piece of cardboard. Hope my clear glue is not one solid long chunk again like it was before. Okay, solid chunk of glue. Crappy brush. Glue. What I want to do is I want to make sure I get it on the little step up area so we can use flock to cover up that there's a step up there, that there's a lip. So I'm going to get my glue up there all the way to the edge and make it a little thick. I'm going to try to avoid my rocks the best I can. And if you don't get it right up against everything, it'll look okay. Really want to focus on getting my flock on that lip though, because I want to hide that lip a little better. Okay, something like that. I have a couple different colors of flock. And this is just sawdust flock that I made. That's a little vivid and bright for what I wanted here, but that's okay. Get my air gun. Blow off any excess. And I could stop right there. It's not terrible. It's not great, but it's not terrible. I forgot a door handle. I have these tiny wooden beads. Let me get some tweezers. No, I don't. Oh, yeah, I do. Tiny wooden beads. Right there. I'm going to get my poker. Oops. I'm going to rub it around in there. I'll put it on my door. Now that's not going to dry very quickly, and I want it to be dry right now. I don't want that to fall off there. Let's set it that way. I'm going to get a tiny dab of glue and let it soak in there. Just like that. I don't know if that did what I want, so let me help it along a little bit and get it. Yeah, it's on there. All right, cool. So you could clear coat it if you wanted to. I don't know if I'm keeping it or not. You could add a chimney or anything you want to do to customize it, but it was a fun build. And the goal wasn't to make anything perfect. It was to make something cool. I wanted this to be like a gnome house that looked like an upside down barrel half. Even though, you know, compared to a miniature, it's... Where's my miniature that I use for everything? Oh. Come on, buddy. There you go. It's right there. So a person could get in there. It's going to be a short doorway. The window's going to be really low to where you'd see their wiener if they were peeing, or their butt, whatever. But it'll work. So thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, share, hit the notification bell icon, and all that happy crappy. And definitely leave the comments. You know I love those. Man, I kind of want to put a bush on here. We're like done. All right, let's put a little bush on there. Do I have any of that Spanish moss stuff? What's this stuff called? Moss collection. It's I don't know. Some kind of moss. Let's get a little bit of that. Rip that off. My glue gun's not hot anymore, and that's the best way to affix it. So what we're going to do is we're going to dip it in that clear glue. We're going to stick it back here in this corner and just shove it against there. And then I'm going to dab a tiny bit of super glue in there to kind of soak along the veins of those interior portions. And I blew on it to get it up against the building. All right, now I have a little bush there. And when that's all dry and solid, I can snip that off, or I can just kind of mush it in and see if I can get it to stay. But there you go. Thank you for watching. Thank you guys for watching, guys, girls, and whatever else. And I'll see you next time.